Mr. Kola Ologbondiyan, who is the spokesperson of the People's Democratic Party, joins us right now in our studios in Abuja. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Good morning, Maupe.
Good morning. Your party has released a statement since saying that the president is just an aspirant, not a candidate. It doesn't give you any jitters whatsoever that he has declared that he's going to run for a second term?
It does not give the People's Democratic Party any jitters that he wants to run. Why should he give us jitters? If President Muhammadu Buhari and the All Progressives Congress are listening to the drumbeat on the streets, he will not bother making a declaration. As Nigerians can see, they have been reacting, and there's so much resentment and indignation.
Well, what sort of reactions are you talking about? Because, I mean, we have heard all sorts of reactions, different reactions. Depends on who you listen to. There are people from Kano who are saying, look, Mr. President, if you do not declare, we will sue you. That's just how seriously they want him to take a second term.
That was one person, the governor of Kano State, Ganduje. Just an individual.
Just an individual, but we saw when the president visited Kano, the crowd, the people who came out to welcome him.
You also saw when the People's Democratic Party was in Duse, in Jigawa State. And you also saw when the People's Democratic Party had a zonal rally in their home state of Mr. President, Katsina. And we also, for us in the People's Democratic Party, is the mammoth crowd that came out in Katsina to receive PDP. That was the force that drove the president to make a sudden declaration, a desperate declaration to run the second term.
You think it is desperate?
Yes, it's a desperate.
What's desperate about it?
In the history, in our political history, particularly in the modern political history, since 1999 to date, President Muhammadu Buhari is the first incumbent president that will declare a second-term interest 1 clear year ahead of the election.
What is wrong with that?
Some people say the
earlier the better. We've seen, if we're just a moment, if we're to follow the example being set now in the United States, President Trump has already set up his campaign office ahead of his second term bid. This is only his first year in office.
Yes.
He's shown interest. Isn't that being very honest with your intentions?
In Nigeria, we do not have such a working system that whether the president is campaigning or not, the system is on its own will run the nation. We do not have that privilege. In Nigeria, what we discover is that once politicking starts, every apparatus of government take the back seat. So what President Muhammadu Buhari's declaration for a second tenure has ensured now is that from this moment until elections are held in February 2019, governors will take the back streets.
Some people will.
And as such, it then means that to Nigerians, for President Muhammadu Buhari's first 3 years, there is nothing, absolutely nothing to show for those 3 years.
Mr. Ologbondiyan, just a moment. Now, you have made a statement. Yeah. Let me take you up on your statement. You have said that we have seen in Nigeria. Interestingly, you know, in this fourth republic, the PDP has been the one in power. Yes. Some people will argue that that is the example that the PDP has given so far. So shouldn't we wait to see if things will be different with the APC?
We must not quickly forget or quickly choose not to remember the fact that President Muhammadu Buhari contested the 2015 election on one significant platform, change. That was what he promised Nigerians, which, to my own understanding as a Nigerian, it was coming to make a difference from the system that we had before. Has it made any difference in change? Have we seen any change, any significant change? We haven't. And what we are saying now is that, must he take us back through the same process if he promised to come and change the system? So, Nigerians, as we speak today, have seen it all in President Muhammadu Buhari. And if you remember that when President Muhammadu Buhari went to Jos, he did tell Nigerians that he's trying his best. So if a man has told you that he's trying his best, and all his best could do for us is to bring us to where we are today, do you need any soothsayer to know that Nigerians are prepared to try another party?
Mr. Ologbondiyan, when you look at all the factors, and you know, all these parties have a history, including yours. When you look at, for example, the process that President Buhari is going through to express his intent and ultimately contest for the primary and then the general election, does it not unfavorably juxtapose with what happened in your party when, for 2.5 years, there was crisis concerning the re-election ambition of former President Goodluck Jonathan, and then, of course, there was the sole candidature. So there really wasn't even an internal party contest. How do those juxtapose?
The environments are different. In the circumstance of President Goodluck Jonathan, and I speak as a Nigerian, I speak as an individual now. In the circumstance of President Goodluck Jonathan, you will recall that the issue of zoning was a problem. Some Nigerians believe that President Goodluck Jonathan needed not contest that election because it was zoned, it should be naturally go to the north. And in the meandering to get President Jonathan to contest that election came the crisis, that what you call a crisis. But the circumstance is different today. Nigeria is too large and it's a very big country. There is no precedent that had contested, that had made a declaration that I want to contest the election without discussing with the stakeholders. You don't just take a walk-in into a neck and declare that I'm running the second term without consultation with your stakeholders. It doesn't work that way. So in the People's Democratic Party, all the presidential candidates that we had fielded were the decision of stakeholders of the party. But what do you witness in this circumstance? That's why I say there's desperation. The president and commander-in-chief will just walk into his party neck and said, I'm running a second term. Is that the way it's done?
In fairness to your answer, I want to make sure I'm understanding you clearly. It sounds as if you're justifying the sole candidature, the attempt to give sole candidature to the former president by saying that zoning was an issue. Does that now mean that the party had to respond that way? Does it not reflect a lack of internal democracy in your party?
No, it does not. It does not. If you look at, if you go back and look at what happened in the activities leading to the 2015 election, particularly as they concern the People's Democratic Party, you will recall that the major issue that the party had to contend with before a final decision of President Goodluck Jonathan running was that issue of zoning. So what I was just trying to point out, because you said for over 2 years we were in a quagmire and in our ability to take decision and to say this particular person is our candidate. And I was just trying to explain to you that what led to that was that issue of zoning. Once a decision was reached at the party level by the stakeholders that the former President Goodluck Jonathan should be allowed to run, it became a party decision. But what I'm saying now is that you cannot compare that environment with the current environment where a president is expected to liaise with stakeholders of his party. Now he just walked into National Executive Committee meeting of his party and said, I'm running a second term. Who does that?
But do you...
Well, anyway, that is their personal issue. That's why we said it's an internal affair. It doesn't in any way affect the People's Democratic Party.
It's very interesting. When the news came out that, that he had done so at the NEC meeting, I watched the reaction of your party, which was very interesting in the sense that you didn't really look at it and say, well, his record is this or his record is that on economy, security. What you really focused in on was to say that, look, his work is not yet done, that he has not yet secured his party's ticket. Do you have a tip-off to any particular plot within his party that gives you a sense that it may be more difficult than it currently appears?
Well, we are not bothered about All Progressives Congress and what they do, what the members do to themselves. We are concerned about Nigeria. We are concerned about this nation. That is the drive of the People's Democratic Party as we operate today. If President Muhammadu Buhari feels that way, just like the way he's been imposing and directing his party now, he can as well say that nobody must contest this election. I will give you what I call Alile mythology. Alile mythology is a concept that is general among the Yoruba speakers and among the Yoruba natives. Some people call it Alile. We call it Alile in Okun, where I come from. Other Yoruba call it Alile. What does it mean? It's like a talisman that a farmer places on his farm when he's not there, so that anybody who comes there to steal, the talisman is believed to have the strength and the capacity to hold the person down and possibly give the person an assignment that it will be doing, it will be carrying out until the owner of the farm returns. If you look at the President Muhammadu Buhari's declaration, it's akin to an Alile mythology. The man is going abroad, he's traveling, and he's looking around. If I don't put a talisman on these people, some other guys may begin to nurse interest. And you know there are people in APC who want to contest the presidential election. So some other people can begin to nurse interest and say they will run for the presidential election. So let me put an Alile, a talisman, on them. Then I go to where I'm going. Whenever I come back, they are there waiting for me. They say Buhari is going to contest. So that's why, for us in the People's Democratic Party, his declaration is of no interest to us.
I'm just wondering then, you don't think that the president's declaration should be taken seriously? Is that what you're saying?
Do you think any Nigerian who had followed the governance method of President Muhammadu Buhari since May 29, 2015, till date, will take his presidential interest serious?
No, there are people who take it very seriously.
The
point is, the question I'm asking is, do you think that the president is joking when he says he wants to run for president?
Well, we don't know what in the People's Democratic Party, we don't know what he's doing. We don't know what his mindsets are. But we do believe that President Muhammadu Buhari is not listening to the drumbeat being beaten or being played by Nigerians.
Okay, so
that's our own position.
Hey, what will change for you? Yes. Because you have said, well, he's just an aspirant. He has the constitutional right to, declare if he wants to. What will change when he becomes a candidate? What
will change for us is not even when he becomes a candidate. What will change for us is the processes in which we can allow Nigeria, in which we will allow the People's Democratic Party, will partner with majority of Nigerians to look among the array of the aspirants on our platform and secure the best who understands this nation, who knows the nuances of our country, who has seen where this government has taken us to in the woods, and who have the capacity, and who have the economic wizardry, and who have the knowledge of unity, and who understand the cohesive nature of this country, and is prepared to run for the president. We believe that's what will make a change for us.
Let's go to Lagos now and take some questions from there.